Part 61. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 603. Ruthie knelt at Nice's feet and begged Nice to give him another chance. Ness shook his head slightly. Look at what you did. Ness took the photon gun handed over by Joe Heiya and aimed another shot at Lu 11's other good leg. What a great weapon. You are also very capable, you can get all this. After this shot was fired, Ness could confirm that this gun was not assembled without taking a closer look at the gun body. It is produced by a serious military factory. He stepped on Lu 11 with one step. What did you do with this weapon? That's why Kurt officials couldn't tolerate him. He has been able to evade the authorities and obtain regular weapons. What else can he not do in the future? Are you going to rebel or seek hegemony? Where do you put the government? Ruthie began to beg for mercy. Ness, well, next, if you confess, you can still survive. Otherwise. I confess. I confess everything. I just want to save my life. Those who can persevere on the exile star do so in order to survive. As long as there is a chance to live, who is willing to die? Lu 11 was taken away directly. Congratulations, Nice smiled at Tao Ran. The mining rights from now on will be yours. We must serve the Code government well. And take Lu 11 as a warning, Tao Ran immediately expressed his stance. Wasn't Ness just beating them up when he treated Lu 11 in front of them? Our team just wants to live well and doesn't care about anything else. Please just relax. Very good. The internet has exploded. Isn't it just half the game? Why is it over? Nothing happened at halftime. What happened during the break? Soon, 2 videos were officially released. That is, the part where Lu 11 kidnapped Joe Heiya with the intention of plotting against Tao Buran, and the part where Lu 11's people controlled the Joe Heiya base in the 4th area and almost caused an explosion. The Luxi team tried to win the first place in the competition through violence and has been disqualified. Therefore, the winner of this competition is Joe Heiya's team, the official said righteously. The Luxi team harbored firearms and privately manufactured gunpowder. They have been interrogated by the government and the results will be announced at a later date. A bunch of blah blah blah. Then I heard that several of Lu 11's properties in Districts 1 and 2, as well as their team's exclusive training ground, had been sealed. Everyone in Lu 11's team was also taken away. Joe Heiya's team became officially recognized as the #1 team in this competition. Many people still can't believe that that team, which everyone thought was third-rate, suddenly transformed into the strongest on the planet. Joe Heiya's whole person felt like he was in the clouds. Ha! Ha ha ha! He bet 90% of the team's funds on his own team. He pulled off an absolute upset. The bet was won. This amount of money has increased nearly 30 times. He, hell, has become a rich man on this planet. In addition, they also received a large amount of competition prize money. Who would have thought that in just a few dozen days, he would transform and now he wouldn't feel bad about spending huge sums of money. In addition, the government also provided a large amount of survival materials, including a large piece of land in the mining area, houses, and various mechanical robots. And, of course, a pretty generous employment contract. Ness also warned them, as long as you work honestly and diligently, this contract can be renewed forever. The entire team was confused, and eventually everyone fell down laughing. They all have iron rice bowls. I've heard it all, as long as you don't act like a monster, you can continue forever. Can you not be happy? This place not only provides accommodation, but also provides intermediate nutrient solution and fruits, and there is also money to get. There are robots to help with the work, and there are officially equipped small aircraft and hover vehicles. A new chapter in life has begun. Everyone was laughing and finally sent all the official people away. Tao Ran slowly stopped laughing. but she was exhausted. She had been pretending to be overjoyed, but unfortunately, she didn't want to be the overlord of Kurt. Leaving this hellish place was the most important thing. Joheiya ran up to Taoran and said he wanted to transfer a sum of money to her. No, why does she want money? Go buy some good food and drink, and treat your brothers well. Buy more meat. Taoran was still thinking about Lu 11. The fact that Ruthie was able to obtain weapons that did not belong to Kurt showed that there must be loopholes in the planet's defense. So as long as this loophole is caught, maybe there is hope for her to leave. In addition, she still felt that Lu 11 had official secrets. Otherwise, in the previous situation, why would Nyes talk nonsense to Lu 11 on behalf of the government? Wouldn't it be easier to kill and deal with him like his deputy? Lu 11 said he was willing to tell everything, but he was taken away. This is where the life of a miner begins. Taoran's previous guess was good. Although there were several types of ore required by the government on the list every time, when it was delivered every 10 days, Taoran found that the eyes of the officials who came to supervise were almost all focused on the black ore. As for the other types of ores, they feel like they are filling up. When black ore is registered, the purity and weight are even accurate to the decimal point. The ore will be sealed and loaded directly after inspection, and then stacked in an official warehouse not far away. In order to prove his guess, Taoran deliberately lowered the purity of the vermilion stone and black ore once when submitting. But the supervisor only found that the quality of the black ore was not good, asked her why, and told her to explore the next batch carefully. And every time she submits excessive amounts of black ore, the regulatory officials will be very happy. Once she submitted an extra 5 kilograms, and when the official left, he asked her if there was anything she wanted, and he could bring it to her next time. Taoran replied, "Coffee." The next day, she actually got a pound of coffee. Coffee, as far as she knew, was also in short supply in the Kurt government. But a few kilograms of black ore were exchanged for the encouragement of coffee, and its value is evident. After paying attention for a while, she finally discovered one night, in the dead of night, that an aircraft had taken away all the ore. It's really sneaky. Is this someone in the government smuggling? Or is this black mine too important? She prefers the latter. There are not many things that can make people from the government work so hard and yet still be cautious and sneaky. Thinking of the first time Joheiya saw this black mine, he said déjà vu, and then thinking of Joheiya's former arms business. Taoran secretly asked Joheiya. She suspected that the black ore was military supplies. Joheiya said, "That's how I feel. It seems that I have used it before, but I can't remember it." Once your thoughts wander, you can't stop. Taoran suddenly thought, the reason why the spiritual stone mines here are not of the same origin is because these black mines block the growth of spiritual stones. After tens of millions of years, the spiritual stone was in pieces. So this ore has a blocking and isolating effect? If true, isn't this military material for a powerful anti-spying equipment weapon? Taoran checked the interstellar position of Ket star. This place is not close to the central star, but it is not far from several war stars with complicated forces. Therefore, once the mineral resources of Ket star are exposed, it will definitely become a must-have for all companies. If the alliance is far away, it will lose control of Ket star. In fact, to Taoran, it doesn't matter what the black mine can do. As long as it is confirmed that there are loopholes in the official website and it is secretive, then the opportunity will naturally not be far away. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 604. The following days were very easy for Taoran. With her cheats turned on, she could explore the black mines effortlessly. The rest of the day, she would practice in the tent. When she was in the world of immortality, although she spent most of her energy on improving her combat power, she still knew how to set up the most basic spirit gathering array. The spiritual array is running, and the spiritual stones are filled in, and the body is gaining a lot every day. After the body was nourished by spiritual power, the entire physique also improved tremendously. In just 1 month, she, who originally had B and physical strength, was able to tie with an A-level brother in the team. Taoran had no worries on Code Planet, so from the day she got the mining right, she never left the mining area. In the eyes of officials, her down-to-earth attitude is reassuring. Taoran could sense that the official eyes that had been secretly watching them were becoming less and less. The official did not announce the results of their treatment of Lu 11. On this point, Taoran asked Nyes on the optical brain because he was afraid of being retaliated by Lu 11, and was later told, "Don't worry, you will never see Lu 11 again, and their people will not retaliate against you. Be good to you. Just do your own thing." 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months passed, and Taoran finally breathed a sigh of relief. Their team has done its job honestly, so the officials are very confident about them and have almost completely lifted the monitoring. Taoran has been thinking about one thing during this time. When Zhou Heiya was detained by Lu 11 that day, faced with doubts about the source of the weapons, Lu 11 revealed that he had already deployed backup plans throughout the mine. Listen to that, isn't his weapon just hidden in one place? Moreover, the scope of the mine has become larger, and during the competition, the teams also act randomly. If he wants to ensure the success of his plan, he must first ensure that he can get the weapons quickly. So Taoran became more and more certain that the weapons Lu 11 had prepared in advance were not just the 2 photon guns. And Lu 11 and his team were taken away directly during the game and never came back. So, are those weapons still in the mine? It has been 3 months, and no one from the authorities has come to look for weapons. Obviously, Lu 11, who is now desperate, has not confessed that he has hidden weapons. Taoran was inevitably tempted by this. With weapons, did it mean she had another layer of protection for her escape? So, Taoran started walking in the mining area over and over again every day, especially the area that had been circled by the officials for the competition. She didn't believe that she would not find it. Zhou Heiya has also been working very hard recently. He really wanted to leave Kotstar. Taoran gave him a task. He must at least improve his physique to a higher level, otherwise, he would not even think about following her. Zhou Heiya has his own way. He has money. Proper exercise and a large number of medicines allowed his physique to reach C within 3 months. Although Taoran was speechless, he was still forced to run 10 kilometers of mountain roads every day. Zhou Heiya gritted his teeth and endured in order to leave. On the 40th day in the mine, Taoran discovered something. That day was originally the day of delivery. They submitted the ore according to the quantity, but when the official people came to receive the goods that day, they did not use robots. Taoran smelled something unusual. Isn't this asking for trouble? Not only will the data be correct using robots, but it can also be entered directly into the system, which can save a lot of work. But the official in front of me just took a few photos with a light camera. Even if the recording was completed, it was completely inconsistent with the previous procedures. Moreover, only half of the black ore that day was sent to the official warehouse, and the rest was packed into boxes. In the middle of the night, a container truck came and all the ore was loaded on it. Just pretend what happened tonight didn't happen, the official warned. Yes. We are only responsible for mining, and we don't know anything else. Taoran returned smoothly, but as soon as she turned around, she asked her brothers in District 4 to check whether any aircraft from other planets had come from the airport in the past 2 days. She suspected that someone in the government was really defecting. The answer she received was yes. In District 3, there is an aircraft transporting supplies. It just landed this morning. There is no valid mark on the aircraft. I don't know where it came from. The aircraft is not small, and it looks like it is used to transport cargo. Third district? Isn't this the direction the container truck left just now? Taoran asked people to keep watching, and finally confirmed that a container truck had indeed gone near the aircraft. That area is also under traffic control. Soon, the aircraft completed loading and left overnight towards the airport. The departure time is 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. From then on, Taoran would glance at the robot a few more times every time the goods were delivered. Twice, she even saw the receipts with the Central Star logo on them. She confirmed that these ores were needed by the Alliance. But every 30 days or so, there will always be a group of black minds that will skip the robots and official warehouses, use a container truck to deliver the aircraft that has been waiting for the response, and fly away from the Kot Star by bypassing the regular route. This mining right is official, and it bypasses the official government. What is this if it is not a move? This was most likely what Lu 11 caught that day. Taoran felt that she might have found the easiest way to escape from the planet. Just need a layout. She couldn't just leave. Who said the family was big now, so she couldn't harm her brothers? After some calculation, Taoran set his sights on Mu Guang again. A while ago, in order to dispel official doubts, the two of them had been living in the same suite. When necessary, you have to show affection. For this reason, Taoran maintained a very high quality as an actor, but Mu Guang was in great pain. From today on, you put the other ores aside and focus on the black ores. Taoran took Mu Guang to the mining area and taught him how to sense the black ore. You also gave me the black mine, what are you doing? Don't even think about being lazy. I have more important things to do. What? Don't you want to be on your own? If I'm not here one day, you can become the backbone of the team, it's gratifying. Recently, Mu Guang has been forced hard by Taoran, and he has been using Zhou Heiya's physical strength medicine. Finally, his physical strength, which was barely E-level half a year ago, has finally reached D+. Taoran had to think about the future. After she and Zhou Heiya leave, the mine will definitely continue to operate, and the only one who can lead the team is Mu Guang. Taoran didn't have high demands on him. As long as his physical strength can reach C. Where are you going? Mu Guang blurted out, but before Taoran could answer, he smiled and said, forget it, don't say it. His mental strength is A+, and his mind is more delicate and sensitive than ordinary people. Otherwise, Tao is mysterious and arrogant even when he wins the game. It always gives him the feeling that he may lose control at any time. Not to mention Zhou Heiya, they have been brothers for many years, and he could tell at a glance that something was wrong with that guy recently. It's a pity that I was born on the planet Kot, and there is no other place to go if I leave. Otherwise, I will have to follow him life and death. Mu Guang, are you coming back? Taoran didn't see a trace of joy in the eyes of this man who cursed herself every day and wished he could end the relationship with her every minute. Instead, she was filled with reluctance. She felt much better, as her consideration for these people was finally not in vain. She poked Mu Guang in the forehead with her finger, what are you thinking? Expect me to never come back? So you can become the overlord of the mine? Dream on. Taoran must come back. There are spiritual stones here, a lot of spiritual stones. I have a cold, I am dizzy and I am typing words very slowly. The next chapter will be a little later. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 605. The escape plan has been put into action. Taoran searched for 4 months and finally confirmed that her previous judgment that Lu 11 had other weapons hidden was correct. That day, Taoran was climbing a mountain and tripped over a thick vine. She thought of how in the survival game that day, she only escaped by leading everyone down the cliff along the vine to avoid danger. She noticed that the terrain of this mine was complex, with many hills having cliffs. However, as I looked around, I didn't find any caves or anything like that on the cliff. But she soon discovered a mark similar to the word on the rocks next to the rock wall. And that symbol is facing a thick vine hanging down the cliff. Does the vine grow downward? She subconsciously suspected it was man-made. Grab the vine and pull hard. Sure enough, the vine does not grow on the rock wall, but can be easily lifted. After dragging it up for tens of meters, there was indeed something at the other end of the vine. A cloth bag, inside, a laser gun. Tisk. No wonder she couldn't find the weapon after searching for so long. Lu 11 was not afraid of being discovered by other teams during the game. The weapon was hung directly in the grass on the cliff. Who could find it? With this direction, the next step will be much easier to find. As speculated, due to the random nature of the competition, Lu 11 himself was not sure where he would take action, so there were similar arrangements on several hills. Tao Ran found several guns and even a bundle of military detonators. Tao Ran guessed that Lu 11 had probably discovered the value of the black mines, so he followed the official methods and found the aliens who came to release the prisoners, made private transactions with them, and obtained weapons. Still so many weapons. I don't know what their plan is, to rebel? Hijacking an aircraft? Or who do you collaborate with? But they can't let go of the mining rights, because their appetite and ambition are too big. Who cares? Tao Ran originally planned to put all the weapons away, but after thinking about it, she had another idea. From that day on, she took a look at a rock wall, got a vine down, found a sunken hole, and started digging. Layout begins. A week later, Tao Ran's condition suddenly improved, and the black ore he handed over this time was much more than the official quota. The officials who came to hand over were very happy and encouraged her. It was another delivery date, and the amount of black ore they submitted was twice the official quota. As a reward, the official sent her a lot of her favorite coffee, milk, fruits, and vegetables. Tao Ran is obsessed with mining, and Mu Guanglei has been responsible for the recent deliveries. Officials are even more encouraging. There was another delivery period, and seeing that their black mine sales were only increasing but not decreasing, they were directly given a salary increase. On this day, everything was ready, and finally the right time, right place, and right time. It's time to take away smuggled goods again. Mu Guang is still responsible. As with the previous times, there were no robots, just an official and a few of his henchmen. Half of the black ore is sent to the warehouse, and the remaining half has to be loaded onto trucks. Seeing that the total amount of ore had increased, the official couldn't help but be happy and threw a bottle of wine directly to Mu Guang. Mu Guang was flattered and thanked him very much. The official asked Tao Buran. Mu Guang, her luck has been frighteningly good recently, and she has a 100% success rate in identifying ores. None of us don't think it's amazing. No, she was originally resting today, but after dinner, she suddenly said that she remembered that she had walked to a place during the day. I'm afraid it's unusual there. I want to go. Our captain couldn't persuade her, so he made a bet with her and went to the mountain with her. The official asked casually, but Mu Guang kept talking. He also took the photo. Sir, look, we are planning to get married when the mine is on holiday at the end of the year. This is the invitation we designed. What do you think? Do you want to come and support us then? The official couldn't refuse such a happy event, so he responded several times. Of course he wanted to support him, and he also had to give him a gift. After all, it's not okay to rely on people to make a fortune. The two chatted nonsense, while the officials' confidants were carefully patrolling around to keep watch, while the brothers brought by Mu Guang were busy packing the ore into boxes and loading it into the car. Unexpectedly, suddenly, a huge explosion came from a distance. The sound was deafening, and along with the fire wave that reached half a sky high, a gust of hot wind was set off. Thick smoke fills the sky, and the smell of burning has spread. Everyone was dumbfounded for a moment. The mining area exploded. How can it be? Is there anything to explode in this mining area? Such a big explosion is definitely not an ordinary gas or combustible explosion. This explosion was followed by several smaller explosions. Judging from the direction, they were not far away. Mugwang suddenly screamed, startling the official again. My wife, my captain, are all still in the mining area. Will something happen to them? Mugwang scratched his head and howled, and his first reaction was to hit his brain. The signal can be interrupted. Tao Ran and Zhou Heiya couldn't be contacted at all. Mugwang almost collapsed. Just as he was about to rush in the direction of the explosion, his foot slipped again. The official subconsciously pulled him, and he quickly grabbed the official. "Sir, hurry, find someone to save my wife and the captain. Hurry." Oh, the officer's face was already distorted. At this moment, the alarm in the mining area has been automatically raised, and the robot defense team and government escorts will arrive soon. Now that he is here, the important thing is that he is still carrying a container truck. How should he explain it then? Otherwise, my captain, don't let anything happen to you, take care of yourself and come back safely. Mugwang howled loudly, heartbreakingly, and couldn't bear it anymore. Stop, he cried out loudly, his legs became weak, and he was almost dragged onto the hover car by his brothers. The official saw that the goods had been loaded. He hurriedly gave the order, gesturing to close the car door, and left the mining area as quickly as possible before the escort came. At the same time, he was thinking hard and asked the responder to shorten various procedures and arrange for the aircraft to leave on the container as quickly as possible. Such a big explosion can be seen by anyone who is not blind in Area 1 and Area 2. At that time, all government officials will be alerted. And it's also suspected that Tao Oran and the others are involved, which makes it even more troublesome. The chief sheriff of Kotstar also knows about her and will definitely ask about this matter. Needless to say, within a quarter of an hour the entire mining area would be bustling with activity. Only some of their upper management was involved in the incident, and it must not be spread out. Although the government officials are all from Central Star, they have different factions. The official temporarily decided not to deliver the goods. He had to go to the warehouse quickly and planned to pretend that he was rushing from the warehouse to the scene of the incident. He had to rush to the explosion site immediately, at least to ensure that Mugwang and the others would not mention his coming to load goods tonight in front of others. The official went to Nais again and told him that the explosion just now was unusual and may have involved Tao Buran and Zhou Heiya. And, the instrument in my hand shows that the chemical substances and light substances in the air exceed the limit. This is not right. You'd better come here. After making the call, the official closed his eyes in pain. He could not help but have an idea. If Tao Ran and Zhou Heiya were to encounter an explosion caused by military weapons, it would be difficult for them to survive. He suddenly remembered what Gang Mugwang said. Tao Oran said that he remembered that there was an unusual place during the day and wanted to find out. Could it be that this was why the accident happened? The bad premonition is getting stronger and stronger. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 606. The official rushed to the scene of the explosion as quickly as possible, and promptly controlled Mugwang and others aside on the grounds of protecting the scene. Various government defense teams arrived at the scene and began an investigation. They soon discovered that it was an explosion that occurred in a depression in the rock wall. There, they quickly found the explosive remnants of a military detonator. Military detonator? No wonder it's so powerful. But where did it come from? The officials looked at each other in confusion. Joe Heiya was new to the team not long ago, so this matter must have nothing to do with them. Everyone immediately thought of Lu-11. Therefore, the detonator residue was taken for examination to see where it was produced, what batch it was, and whether it could be related to the photon gun seized last time. There are traces of nutrient solution and artificial apples on the top of the mountain. They are fresh. Someone should have stopped here not long ago. The drone inspected the rock wall and soon discovered rags that were hung on the rocks and trees below and burned black by the blast. After getting the rags and checking them, they were all backpack fabrics provided by the mining area. In other words, someone did come, and someone did encounter an explosion. Everyone looked at each other again. So many military detonators were enough to blow up a building. This person, if he met, he would most likely be shattered to pieces. On the other side, the drone searching the mining area could not find Joe Heiya and Tao Ran. The two lost contact, which means they may have been killed. After another round of searches, officials finally found a completely useless optical brain that had been blown beyond recognition on a rock wall 50 meters below the explosion site. Muguang determined that it belonged to Tao Buran. Isn't this clear? Tao Buran and Joe Heiya must have discovered something was wrong here and came to investigate. However, for some reason, an explosion was caused and an accident occurred. In this situation, it is impossible to survive, not even the body can be left behind. Even if you don't say that you are blown to pieces, falling from a cliff is still the end result of falling to pieces. The drone continued to explore, and the pictures taken back showed that there were indeed many broken bones and cloth at the bottom of the cliff. The only ones intact were the multi-purpose knives provided by the government to the mining area. At this time, Ness received news that the detonator matched Lu-11's previous photon gun, and it indeed seemed to be produced by the same military factory. Angry Ness didn't expect that Lu-11 had become a prisoner, but he was still tricked by him. This is obviously going to cut off the government's financial resources. Fearing that there might be similar arms buried, the officials dispatched a large number of manpower and began to search throughout the mining area. Searching along the rock wall, they quickly found stones with the symbol on them and several guns. So Ness went almost overnight to interrogate Rousey again. Lu-11 originally refused to admit that he had hidden weapons in the mining area, but Ness photographed the laser guns and other objects he had hidden in front of him, and the origin of these laser guns still came from the same place as the previously seized photon guns. I actually asked you to find it? Lu-11 did not hide it, but directly admitted it, saying that he had indeed hidden many weapons in the mining area, and that they were indeed hidden on various places where vines hung from the rock walls. Nise wanted to ask for details, but Lu-11 shook her head and smiled. My deputy arranged it all. Wasn't he killed by you? Sorry, I don't know. When Lu-11 heard that his detonator had killed Tao Buran and Joe Heiya, he jumped for joy and laughed. God's will, you deserve it. So what I can't get, no one else can get. At this moment, Tao Ran and Joe Heiya had passed the aircraft and were successfully pulled to the airport. The explosion was Tao Ran's handiwork. For the sake of the innocent people in the team, she couldn't disappear out of thin air, so she could only fake her death. She wants to leave. Even if she bribes the alien ship, she has no official procedures and cannot pass the official inspection, so she cannot leave. Then taking advantage of certain people's preferences is the best way. The two merged into one, and her chance came. She dug a hollow in the cliff in advance, put Lu-11's detonator inside, and asked Joe Heiya to secretly buy some explosives and mix them in the hole. She also equipped the explosives with a remote control device, so that the delay device no need to do it. It can not only ensure that the detonator explodes 100%, but also control the time without deviation. Since Muguang had already guessed that they were leaving, Tao Ran told him the plan without any politeness at all, and roped him into the game. Muguang didn't let up at the critical moment. After receiving a crash course in Taoran's acting skills, he basically brought out the set content. In fact, from the time he was pestering the chief inspector to see the brain, the brothers who were busy loading the goods had already used their hands and feet to mix a box with the same appearance into the goods. When the explosion occurred, it was when the brothers were moving the box into the container truck and placed it on the innermost floor. At that time, the attention of the official and his people was attracted by the explosion, and they did not notice that the box was actually slightly different from the box they brought, and they forgot to scan it with instruments. The officials were afraid of being exposed, so they not only asked the truck to leave quickly, but also called the line to request a green light, skipping many formalities. So as soon as Taoran's container truck stopped, the entire container was sent directly to the aircraft, and they arrived at the airport without going through security checks. There, the container skipped the security check again and was sent directly to a starship that was about to leave. Right now, Taoran and Joheiya have been flown away from the planet as cargo. Everything is going smooth. Taoran had already made arrangements. She and Joheiya's backpacks and optical brain had long been thrown into the pit on the rock wall. During the riots in District 6 the night before yesterday, they stole 2 corpses, a man and a woman, changed their clothes and stuffed them into the hole. Therefore, even if the officials go looking for them, they will soon find their bones. Well, the bones were blown to pieces, and the skin and flesh could not be found. Who would have thought that it wasn't the 2 of them? Who can doubt the strength of arms? Taoran was very careful. Although she found many of Lu 11's weapons, except for one gun, she basically left them where they were. In this way, when Lu 11 is severely interrogated, there will not be too much deviation in the number and it will not arouse suspicion. This was the best solution Taoran could think of. She simply transferred all conflicts and dragged Lu 11 into the plan. In this way, all eyes were diverted. No one could have imagined that the explosion could be related to the disappearance. No matter how serious the official suspicion is, they will only think about Lu 11. Guess he has another purpose, guess he is a centipede insect that is dead but not stiff, guess he has a plan, plus he had the intention to kill Joheiya and Taoran before. Everything is logical. All went well. Mugwang's performance was a bit impressive. At that time, Taoran opened the crack in the box and looked out, and saw Mugwang crying and shouting for them to take care and come back safely. She thought it was him acting, but upon closer inspection, Taoran discovered that he was really serious when he burst into tears. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 607. Taoran felt relieved that her efforts in helping the team were finally not in vain. Before she left, in addition to teaching Mugwang how to sense the black mine, she also took him around the mine, directly telling him the areas with the highest concentrations of spiritual stones, and confirming the excavation points with him. In this way, with his mental strength, he will have no problem coping with mining for the next 10 years. Taoran also left him a note on how to understand spiritual energy. His spiritual power is so high, if God gives him a chance, and nourished by spiritual stones, he will be able to protect everyone for a long time. Taoran's request from him was very simple, that is, help her collect the emerald green stones from the black mines in the warehouse. Taoran felt that this accident that killed him would definitely cause an uproar. Speaking of which, the government has an unshirkable responsibility. Therefore, if the government wants to lose face, it will not break the contract just because the team has lost its captain and the most powerful person. If nothing else happens, the team should be able to keep their job. In addition, the government has to pay a large pension, right? She and Lao Zhou sacrificed their lives for the Code government and the stability of Code. They were not only civil servants, but also anti-terrorism fighters. This compensation will definitely not be small. So even if these guys lose their jobs, with the large sum of money left by Lao Zhou and this compensation, their lives will never be difficult. Here on Kotstar, there is no need to worry about anything. At this moment, the two of them were sighing in the dark container. Yitan didn't know where he would be sent by the starship. Ertan's only way out is by adapting to circumstances. Taoran opened the box, and the two of them finally no longer had to huddle together. He came out of the box, took out his backpack, and turned on the flashlight. When Joheiya was about to eat, Taoran stopped him again. He had been fasting for the past few days. Without him, Taoran was afraid that he would have poop and urine. The flight journey was unknown for how long, and the environment was very important, therefore, he had been only allowed to drink nutrient solution recently. Taoran naturally had no such worries. The inside of her jacket was sewn with spiritual stones. With the spiritual stone in hand and the spiritual energy flowing, she could live for a long time without eating or drinking. At this moment, she was holding a spirit stone in each hand and started practicing. This place is too stuffy. How about we use a laser knife to open the container and sneak out? Joheiya was a little uneasy. Then what? Taoran didn't even raise his eyelids. Do you know what's going on outside? Is there anyone outside? Is there surveillance? What is the size of this starship? What's its defense level? Whether it's armed or not, we don't know anything. Just you, a laser gun? What are you doing? Hijacking a starship? Get some sleep. In a place like this, there must be surveillance everywhere, and you will be discovered if you show up. In a sealed body like a starship, they don't even have a place to escape. Just think of yourself as an ore. There must be a cycle from when the ore is put into storage to when it is used, and there will always be opportunities. Joheiya was speechless, and Taoran didn't want to talk to him. He couldn't even play games without a light brain, so he could only continue to sleep. After waking up and sleeping, Taoran was still in the same cross-legged position every time he woke up. Several times, Joheiya suspected that this woman who was motionless and seemed not even breathing had passed away. After an unknown amount of time, the spacecraft shook and apparently entered a certain orbit. Looks like we've arrived at the right place. Not long after, they felt a shaking sensation and were transferred. After another period of time, the container was finally put down. After practicing Taoran, his ears and eyesight were sharp, and with his strong mental power, he could pick up all conversations from the outside world at once. The people who came to inspect the goods were complaining about being too sleepy and cold, and they were asked to come out in the middle of the night. The container was opened, and the outermost box was removed. After opening it, someone expressed satisfaction with the black ore, saying it was good goods and asked the goods to be sent to the factory for inventory and inspection. Want to check? Doesn't that mean the secret is exposed? Later, they could sense that the container was being moved again. Therefore, it is best for them to escape before being sent to the factory. Taoran made a prompt decision, jumped out of the box, put on his hat and mask, and put his ear to the container wall. He used his mental power to detect, and after confirming that no one was outside, he signaled Joheiya to come out quickly. Taoran packed up the box where the two were hiding again, making sure that nothing was left behind. He also sorted out the black ore in the box, moved a few pieces of ore from other boxes to even it out, and then closed the box. The two people who had made complete preparations cooperated very well. One used his strong mental power to make sure not to trigger the container door lock, and used a laser knife to dig along the seam of the car. The other followed him out of the car and immediately took the tool handle. The newly opened gap is welded again. They had practiced it many times in the mine and were familiar with it. The machine comes with a silencer function to ensure everything is foolproof. And it was the middle of the night, so it was impossible to tell in the dark. But what if you take a step back and see that there are traces on the container? Who would have thought it was just created? I only think that the container comes from the Kot garbage planet. It is normal to have tatters, as long as there is a lot of cargo, who cares? Joheiya turned around and became numb. Mother. They are on a hovercar now, traveling at a speed of at least 600 kilometers per hour, right? How do they escape? However, before Joheiya could react, several safety buckles clicked and locked his belt and shoulder straps, and then he almost couldn't believe the magical scene in front of him. Unlike Joheiya, when Taoran saw that the container was being pulled directly by the suspension vehicle, he was so grateful to God that he could do whatever he wanted. This is simply a free chance to escape. Even in the wilderness, God helps me. The spiritual power he had cultivated for nearly 5 months finally came into use. With a physique that has reached at least a level, with the blessing of spiritual power and martial arts, you can get twice the result with half the effort. She easily let Joheiya out of the hovercar. The wind roared, coming towards him. Joheiya subconsciously closed his eyes. There was no fall or impact. When he opened his eyes, Taoran was taking him flying under a bridge. Are you really human? If it weren't for Tao, the shoes she was wearing and the bag she was carrying were the same as mine equipment. Joheiya would have suspected that her feet were equipped with springs and her bag was made of parachute. Taoran landed lightly and elegantly. Hearing Joheiya's muttering, he deliberately did not pull him, so Joheiya directly hit his butt on the ground, causing him to roll several times on the ground in pain. His screams turned into laughter. He couldn't believe it, he really escaped. He escaped safely and intact. You won't escape being wanted. Just like a dream. Taoran also breathed a sigh of relief, finally escaping from that ghost place. She took a piece of dried meat into her mouth and chewed it, while also throwing a piece of meat on Joheiya's head. Wake up. Think about what to do next. My mission is completed. Now I am just a little girl who has never been out of the world. The next days will all depend on you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 608. Dreams are simple, but reality is so cruel. Only half a day after arriving in this new place, Taoran discovered that Joheiya was unreliable. The two of them were on a planet called Sibo. It was about the same size as Tangzhu's birthplace, Lane Planet, with a population of over 1 million. It was not particularly developed and very inconspicuous. It is indeed a good place to deal with illegal goods. The biggest advantage here is that it is quite close to a transit star with well-developed transportation. Standing on the street, the two of them couldn't help but sigh. This place was countless times better than Kotstar. Seeing prosperous cities, shopping malls, parks, and restaurants that he had not seen for more than 20 years, Joheiya was so happy that he sang a song, saying that he would definitely take her to Tao, or else she would become a famous person from now on. Taoran patted him on the shoulder and praised him for his conscience. Only later did Taoran realize that he was naive at the time. Joheiya was nearly 30 years older than Tangzhu, so at Taoran's insistence, the two walked as father and daughter. The previous name will definitely no longer be used. Taoran decided that this time her name would be Baofu. Yes, it's still the name used in the world of immortality before. Only in this way can we easily contact her if Mr. Bai comes. Joheiya could only change his surname after her, and simply named him Bob. He said that the name was foreign. Unlike his previous name, it sounds like something delicious. As long as you are happy. For both of them, the first thing they have to solve is the 3 no problems. Without an identity, it is difficult to do anything. But if you want to arrange your identity, you definitely need money. At this point, since he had Joheiya's ready-made wallet, Taoran naturally didn't bother to think about anything else. Here comes the problem. Joheiya's money, the planet where he made money before, is said to be not close to here. First, how do they get there? Interstellar travel costs money. When they go to the transit star, they also want money. But now they are two extremely poor people without even a single star coin. Taoran couldn't make money little by little because he didn't have time. She still had to find Tang Yu and settle the score with those scum, and stop Nai Ronghai from becoming the head of the alliance. The quickest way to make money, according to Zhou Heiya's suggestion, is to gamble, but neither of them has any capital. Fortunately, the two of them brought a lot of daily necessities. So Zhou Heiya volunteered to sell some. At dawn, Zhou Heiya went to sell goods, while Taoran started walking around. The two agreed to meet at the bridge at noon. Wearing a mask is too weird. It's okay to wear a hat and a mask all the time, but it's even more inconvenient to reveal your true face. The two of them are considered celebrities in Kotstar, so it would be troublesome if they were to be recognized. Therefore, Taoran thought about it and decided that it was not advisable to stay on this small planet where officials from Kurt might come and go. She simply walked around and then came back, hoping to wait until Zhou Heiya got some money before she went out for a walk. As a female star with versatile roles, doesn't she have another skill? One of the 4 great witchcraft in the East, makeup. When you have money, buy some cosmetics first, she can also change her look. Taoran thought that he would need to get an optical brain to check the conditions of the Kot and central stars. She grabbed 2 spirit stones and started practicing. When she opened her eyes again, it was already past noon and Zhou Heiya had not returned yet. Just when she almost began to suspect that Zhou Heiya had run away in order to keep his wallet to himself, this guy came back out of breath and embarrassed. It turned out that he and Taoran had the same concerns. Afraid of being recognized, I wear both a hat and a mask. He had been on Code Planet for a long time, and he walked in a slovenly manner and looked dissolute. In addition, he was afraid of being discovered, so he looked around a little sneakily. He chose the most prosperous street in Spaxing, but not long after he showed up, he was targeted by a robot patrolling the street. He didn't do anything, he was blocked in the way, and then he was asked to show his optical brain to scan his identity information, or to take off his mask and scan his facial information for the robot. The face must not be shown. He has no identity. Zhou Heiya knew that if he was stopped, the supplies in his backpack were all good, and his origin would be questioned. How did he say? An illegal immigrant carries a large bag of valuables, and he has hundreds of mouths to talk about. He is not afraid of being questioned, but he is afraid of being confiscated. That would be an unjust death. In particular, he also remembered that there seemed to be a laser gun at the bottom of the bag. If this was to be discovered, it would be impossible to wash it away by jumping into the Yellow River. Zhou Heiya had only the last resort, to run. Just run away. Thanks to the large number of people on the street, he had a lot of experience in escaping during his years on Code. After half an hour of walking through the streets and alleys, he finally got away. He didn't dare to go further to the city center, so he turned around and came to a small and medium-sized neighborhood. He went into a store and wanted to resell his natural apples. Star Code was lagging behind, and he couldn't find anything valuable when packing his luggage, so he basically took natural foods and mid to high-end nutritional supplements, which are valuable in the entire galaxy. As far as he knew, most planets were not suitable for cultivation these days, and all natural foods were very expensive. Artificial apples can be sold for dozens of star coins, and natural apples can be sold for thousands of star coins, while cheap ones can be sold for hundreds of coins. The apples he brought out were all rewards provided to them by the Code government. They came from the Wadakot Mountains. They were big, round, and sweet, the best kind of apples. Zhou Heiya glanced at the counter. Ordinary apples sold for 800 yuan here. He didn't ask for more, so he only offered the store a price of 800 yuan, saying that he had 10 first-class natural apples and could sell them all to the store. However, the store owner asked him for a certificate of origin and a sales license. "Isn't there a logo on the apple? Can't you see it? What if you cheat?" When Joe Heiya couldn't produce proof, the store owner called him a liar, threatening that the wholesale price of apples in Whatcott Mountains was 1,002 star coins, and that they were often out of stock. "How dare you lie to him?" The store directly called the police. As a result, Joe Heiya was chased for 3 full streets by the robot inspector. After asking a hawker, he learned that all food now requires strict licenses and cannot be sold without official authorization. Especially good food. Joe Heiya was dumbfounded. What was the value of his backpack? Can you only eat it by yourself? He took an apple and asked the vendor how much it would be worth if he sold it to him. The vendor looked at it and asked him directly if it was stolen. He said that he could help him deal with the stolen goods, but the maximum would be 100 coins per apple. Joe Heiya returned disappointed, without getting a penny, and full of resentment. "What? My image is so bad. Along the way, have I been regarded as either a robber, a liar, or a thief?" Otherwise, Chaoran glanced at his attire, which concealed his head and face. But at first glance, he was not the same person. Bai has grown so old. Chaoran patted the ashes on his body and stood up, grabbing the apple that Joe Heiya had just put to his mouth to nibble. "If you don't make any money, you won't be allowed to eat such good food in the future. It's such a waste. Life is not easy, but you still have to take action after becoming an actress. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss." Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 609. Although Joe Heiya was dissatisfied, he still followed Chaoran obediently to see what flowers she could produce. "If you can sell all the apples today, I will take your surname." Well, he suddenly remembered that he already took her surname. "If you can sell it, I will take care of all the arrangements for my huge property after I get it. It's a deal." Chaoran had walked around the area before and knew that this was an ordinary residential area with a small market selling various sundries, a few second-hand shops, and many vendors setting up stalls. She took out the welding gun from her bag, threw her bag to Joe Heiya, and went directly into a power tool store. Joe Heiya frowned. In this day and age, power tools are the least valuable. This thing can only be sold for a few dozen coins at most. This amount of money is not enough to find a place to stay for one night, so it is of no use. When Chaoran came out, he already had 100 coin star note in his hand. "Hey, sold so many. I made up a miserable life experience and story, which moved myself and the boss. In order to encourage me, the boss gave me an extra 50 coins. Joe Heiya looked at Chaoran and rubbed his reddish eyes. Then, Chaoran found a place to sell a multifunctional knife, and finally got 200 coins. Joe Heiya looked at it and shook his head. It seemed that she had no good solution. She just relied on acting? Relying on sympathy and charity from others. Maybe someone would give her a few dozen more coins, or spend a lot of money on apples for her. After selling another energy stone, Chaoran finally collected 300 coins. Joe Heiya sighed. But that's it? He has already asked that the official starship ticket from here to the transit star is 3,500 coins per person. If the private commercial starship is used, each person has to pay 5,000 coins. 10,000 for 2 people. This money is far from enough. It seems that it is inevitable to stay here for a while longer to save money. But then, Joe Heiya saw Chaoran's aura suddenly change, and he entered a second-hand store with a smile on his face. He never expected that she would actually go shopping for clothes. After visiting one store, she was still not satisfied, so she went to another one. Neuropathy. When he saw Chaoran take out a full 200 star coins that he had just earned and hadn't warmed up yet, and bought an all-black second-hand dress. Jo Haeya's eyes almost dropped. Is this woman either mentally ill or sick? Dress. Is it to protect against wind or cold? In the interstellar age, normal people only pursue being more powerful. Who would wear such flashy things? Jo Haeya was about to step forward to stop him, but was stopped in place by Chao Ran's sword shot. Next, he just watched helplessly as the woman praised the wife of the boss and begged for another silk scarf. She also said that the wife of the boss's makeup was beautiful and asked which brand of eyeshadow palette she used, Barabala. The landlady replied that she used the cheapest one, and the woman praised her natural beauty and made the landlady grin behind her ears. I'm afraid the proprietress is also a fool. She was fooled into discussing beauty with her. The two of them were so busy that they even put on makeup, painted their faces and did their nails. Jo Haeya almost thought that the two of them were good sisters who had known each other for many years. Absurd. She damn it, even deposited her watch there and paid another 100 stars to persuade the landlady to lend her a pair of high-heeled leather boots and a shopping bag for half a day. Neuropathy. 100-star coins, wouldn't it be nice to find a place to spend the night? Jo Haeya couldn't stand it anymore and went directly to the entrance of the market. He still couldn't help but complain. It took more than half an hour before Chao Ran came out. Her short hair was styled to the back of her head, her eyeliner was drawn thin and long, and her earth-colored eyeshadow made her look more refined. Coupled with a big red lip, she looked cold and cold. In short, Jo Haeya almost didn't recognize her at first glance. Hey, woman. A prodigal bitch. After grinding and grinding for so long, I actually used up all the star coins and exchanged them for a pile of garbage. Finding a deserted place, Chao Ran tied the silk scarf around his waist through the glass showcase. This dress is too ordinary and needs some highlights. Add a silk scarf to give it a sense of design. Chao Ran happened to see Jo Haeya rolling his eyes through the window, and she asked with a smile. Who do you think would dress up like me? People who are full and holding on, Jo Haeya said while chewing gum. Anyway, he has never seen such a flamboyant woman since he came to this planet. Correct, Chao Ran nodded. My current personality is that of a person who has enough to eat and nothing to do. After being nourished by spiritual energy, Chao Ran's skin now has no blemishes, is fair and tender, and can be broken by blowing, so he doesn't even need foundation. Even if I use the lowest grade eyeshadow and lipstick, the effect is very high-end. Chao Ran took out the big sunglasses from his backpack again. Well, no one will love them once they are on. It's a pity that the landlady doesn't have a wig. This short hair is neat and domineering, but not ladylike enough. Forget it, that's it. The neck seems a little empty. While Jo Haeya was stunned, Chao Ran took off all the chains from his belt. When they are in the mining area, they have to hang tools on their bodies, and the official belts have strong alloy chains. Connect the chain, she ordered, and then took out a spiritual stone that was almost exhausted from the bag. The original green color of the spirit stone has disappeared, and now there is only a hint of green lingering around the spirit stone, which is indescribably special. Finding a place where no one was around, Chao Ran took the laser knife and started cutting the spirit stone. Cutting ore every day in the mine is a familiar task. With her strong mental strength, it only took her 2 minutes to make the spirit stone into the size of a pigeon egg, punch a hole, string a chain, and a large and domineering necklace was completed. Wear it around your neck and the fluorescent light flashes. Chao Ran slightly adjusted his spiritual power, and the necklace shone with a scorching light. More dazzling than diamonds. She was satisfied. This broken stone. As soon as Jo Haeya spoke, he was interrupted by Chao Ran. Do you know this stone? Do not know. Since you don't know it, how do you know that this stone is not a treasure? I said it is a gem, how can you prove that it is not? You are right. But can we get money like this? You don't have to worry about what happens next. Your image is not good. Go wait for me under the bridge. Tao Ran went to the downtown area. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she had to settle the money matter before 5 o'clock. In the most prosperous area, she spotted an optical computer store and walked in with her high-heeled boots. She has always been very accurate in her temperament. With her back hair, sunglasses, big red lips, windy walk, and that arrogant posture, she immediately attracted the attention of many people when she showed up with full aura. She firmly believes that as long as her aura is in place, who can despise her? Sure enough, probably because the big diamond necklace around her neck was too intimidating, a real salesperson replaced the robot salesperson and came to receive her in person. Tao Ran clearly looked down upon the appearance of these light brains in the hall. Do you have anything better in your store? Her chin is slightly raised, her eyes are lazy, and she is not afraid of the mental energy of the people around her prying through her sunglasses. Her arrogant demeanor and tone of voice are unabashed, making everyone dare not underestimate her. She was taken to the VIP area by a crowd of smiling salespersons. Tao Ran decided to go online first and check the situation of Central Star and Cot Star. Thanks again, thank you all for your votes. Thank you for the spotless heart, when haha, my book friend's tale number is 241,675, Brother Long, my book friend's tale number is 22,955, and for the rewards. Thank you for your support. I love you so much. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 610. As soon as Tao Ran with his persona appeared, the salesperson began to wonder if she was a real socialite or a nouveau riche. That dazzling and shining necklace really deceives people, and that elegant sitting posture, natural demeanor, and condescending tone, at first glance, it seems that a lot of money is spent on beauty care every year, and the skin is almost flawless. And his calm performance despite inquiries from all parties made the salesperson temporarily ignore the cheap-looking leather boots. A light brain worth 300,000 star coins was placed in front of Tao Ran. Well, just like the mobile phones of her time, optical brains also have pros and cons. Just like the one in front of you, it has a powerful processor and functions, a long battery life, and many built-in functions. Of course, it also looks great. It is not only encrusted with diamonds, but can also change colors. Would you like to try it on? Okay, Tao Ran stretched out his hand. Her smooth, white, and tender wrists looked like she belonged to a wealthy family, which made the salesperson even more attentive. Didn't you go out without an optical brain today? The salesperson was surprised that someone didn't have an optical brain. Don't mention it. I went to try on the dress. It was inconvenient to wear the optical brain. I don't know whose home I took it off. As a result, I couldn't even contact the driver and the bodyguard. Anyway, the optical brain has been used for 2 months. I don't need it. No, I have to carry my own bag to buy the brain. Well, thank you for your hard work. Please take a rest. The salesperson solved another doubt. He just said, how could a wealthy daughter carry a shopping bag by herself? That bulging bag, I wonder what's inside? Her smile grew wider. If you don't like it, I'll change it for you. I'll try it first. Tao Ran turned sideways and touched the optical computer lightly with her thin white fingers. The salesperson thought she was going to log into her own account to test the machine, so she took a few steps back. Then you try it first, and I'll get you a drink. Thanks. The optical brain was connected to the internet, and Tao Ran quickly checked the status of the Cot Star. Everything was normal there, and there were no wanted warrants issued. Cotter's official website was also quiet. Look at Central Star again. Nai Ronghai is proud of the spring breeze. Although he was seriously injured in the front line, he ignored the opposition from the left and right, insisted on working despite illness, and handled the affairs of his regiment, which won overwhelming praise from Congress. As for his competitor named Fakiani, due to a series of suppress ions by the front line, his support rate now lags far behind and he has basically withdrawn from the competition for the head of state. The latest polls show that Nai Ronghai's approval rating is still temporarily ranked first. Tao Ran also saw the video of his latest speech. He is indeed a good actor. Every word is sonorous and every sentence is powerful. His starting point inside and outside his words are all for the alliance, and his foothold is for the people of the alliance. In addition, the bulletin board of the 3rd Military Academy showed that Nai Hua only rested for half a month before returning to training. After training in the training room day and night, last month, he finally had a mental breakthrough and reached S-. Although it was only a small step forward, entering S level was the first level of extraordinary. It completely opened up his future. From now on, he will become a warrior that the alliance focuses on cultivating. Nai Hua even said that his goal is to be the rookie king of the military exercise in 13 months, and he will try his best to improve his physical and mental strength before then. As soon as this news came out, Nai Ronghai's approval rate increased by 1 point. This new king seems to be very important to them. Are military exercises similar to sparring? Tao Ran felt that she was a little interested in the newcomer king. Tao Ran didn't forget to search the local prices. "Miss, I've prepared a glass of orange juice for you. Use it with care." The salesperson smiled and brought a drink. "What do you think of the experience of this optical brain?" "Excuse me." Tao Ran interrupted her. "Is your orange juice diluted with artificial concentrate, or is it juice squeezed from natural oranges?" The salesperson was speechless. "Nonsense. Who can afford natural oranges? Still juicing? Beautiful thought. Even this artificial orange juice can only be enjoyed by VIP guests. It's artificial, dear. Thank you. I won't drink." "You can take it." Tao Ran reached into his bag and took out a big red apple, then wiped it with a wet wipe on the table. "I'm sorry, I only eat natural fruits." Tao Ran slightly raised the decibel level by saying this sentence, which is like a stone dropped into a flat lake, without causing any ripples. The entire optical brain shop was shocked when they heard this, and everyone's mental energy was released. "Say what? Some people only eat natural fruits?" For a moment, many people couldn't bear it anymore and cast envious and jealous looks. Pian Daoran also added, "Apples, I only eat apples grown in the Huatou Mountains." After saying that, Tao Ran opened his mouth and took a bite of the apple. Crack, the crisp sound of apples sounded, and Daoran released his spiritual power. The sweet smell of apples was stimulated and lingered in the entire store. The natural fruity aroma made many people salivate and salivate. Of course, some people became sour. Bragging. "Are you only eating apples from the Huatou Mountains? The apple mall there sells them for 3,000 yuan each. If you eat one apple a day, don't you eat millions of apples a year? Is he rich? You believe it too? The Huatou Mountains only produce 300,000 kilograms of apples a year. They have to be supplied to the entire star network. On our planet, we only have the goods occasionally. Even if you have money, you can't buy them." It seems that woman is really bragging. The embarrassed salesperson who was about to take away the juice also thought so, but Tao Ran actually took another small piece of chocolate from the bag and put it on her tray, saying thank you. Is this a tip? Is this natural chocolate?" The packaging says 100% natural and also has the Alliance Food Grade certification logo. Interstellar cocoa beans have high soil requirements and are more difficult to grow than apples. Pure chocolate is already rare. The salesperson almost blurted out, "Really? Of course it is. Thank you for serving me." Tao Ran smiled like a lady. Thank you, thank you." Taoran raised his eyes and saw the little boy next to him who had followed his father to the store. He was looking at the apple and the piece of chocolate in her hand, swallowing his saliva. He waved to him kindly, and then gave him a piece of chocolate. The child was so happy that he jumped up. The child's father took a look at the chocolate and hurried over. Is this Fandi chocolate? It's quite expensive and hard to buy. I'll give you the money. No need, Taoran said angrily. My uncle is at the Central Star Trade Bureau, and I have all these things. Taoran patted her bulging bag. I can't finish all the apple snacks at home. Look, I haven't finished all the apple snacks at home yet. Just sent it again. Central Star Trade Bureau? The people who had just discussed it all shut their mouths. That makes sense. There are endless first-class apples to eat, and chocolates are given away for free. No wonder it is so extravagant. The salesperson came up and asked Taoran what his name was with a smile, and said that he would get her a membership card. An optoelectronic computer could help her upgrade and maintain it for free in the future. My surname is Nai. Nai. Your surname is Nai? Central Star? Government agencies? Everyone present thought of the one who was most likely to ascend to the summit. Taoran put his finger to his mouth again and made a shushing gesture. She took advantage of the situation and stepped on Nai Rong Hai. What a good thing it can be to be busy lining your own pockets before you even take the position. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 611. Taoran maximized his mental strength. Sure enough, everyone's attention was now drawn to Central Star, Nai Rong Hai, the Bureau of Commerce and herself, and no one had the slightest doubt about the contents of her bag. The child ate the chocolate and said, "Dad, it tastes the same as the chocolate you brought back from Central Star last year. It's so delicious." The child came up to say thank you and happened to see Taoran's opened bag. "Wow, sister, there are so many apples." Then, the child Baba glanced at his father. Dad came up and said, "Miss Nai, I would like to ask, are all your apples from the Wutcott Mountains?" "Yeah, it's from the official farm of Wutcott Mountains, the best kind." I can tell. The man looked at the beautiful apple in Taoran's hand. Can you resell me 2 apples? Christmas is coming soon. I will buy one for my son and my wife." Taoran directly called the child and opened her bag. "Choose for yourself." She raised her head and looked at the father. "You don't need to buy it. Consider it my Christmas gift for the children. Take a gamble." This little boy is neatly dressed, and his father looks very gentlemanly. The things in this downtown optical and computer shop are not cheap, and the people who can come here to spend money must be relatively wealthy. His son ate his own chocolate, and with so many people watching, he wouldn't be embarrassed to ask for 2 more expensive apples, right? That won't work. The man shook his head. "If you don't take the money, I don't want it." The man snatched the apple from his son's hand. He had seen the world, and he could tell at a glance that this apple was indeed a genuine Wutcott apple. "Okay. Then give me whatever you want." Taoran was still generous. "Scan your brain for me and I'll pay you. I lost my brain, so I came to buy a new one. Then I'll give you cash. Then, give me whatever you want, as long as you feel like it." Taoran looks like a nouveau riche. She took another bite of the crunchy apple, and the sweet smell filled the air. The child couldn't help but grab the apple in his hand and bite it. "It's so sweet. Dad. This is the most delicious apple I have ever tasted. 10 times better than the stew apples my mother bought before. Stew apples are also natural apples, and they are not cheap either. 10 times more delicious. Those are definitely real Wutcott apples." For a time, Several guests gathered. The sweet smell filled with spiritual power was so tempting that everyone's mouths were watering. It's the Christmas season and apples are in short supply. Apples from the Scott Mountains were out of stock last month. On Xinhuang, although the official origin price is still more than 1,000, the wholesale price has been increased to 2,000 and they are still not in stock. Not to mention the local shopping mall, last time one sold for more than 3,000. Look, how much should I pay you? I don't know the prices either, so you can do whatever you want. I'll pay you, I'm sorry, I only have 3,000 star coins in cash. Just give me 2,000 coins. No, no, no. Seeing so many people gathered around, the man thought that if these people also asked to buy, the girl would be embarrassed to refuse, and the loss would be a bit big. So at the man's insistence, he finally paid 3,000 coins for 2 apples. 1,050 pieces, which is almost the price of the place of origin. Is this a good thing? The salesperson hurriedly knelt down next to Tao Ran. Miss Nai, can you sell me one? And also sell me a piece of chocolate. She didn't have much money, otherwise, if she bought them all and resold them, she wouldn't make much money. Phew. Okay, Tao Ran smiled, just think of it as helping me share the weight of the bag. Can I give you 2,000 coins? Just watch and give it. Seeing the salesperson taking away an apple and a piece of chocolate for 2,000 yuan, everyone lamented that this girl was really taken advantage of. What a fool. This price is almost the same as the price of stew apple. 10 seconds later, Tao Ran was surrounded by almost 10 people, all asking if they could buy her apples too. If there is an advantage, why not take advantage of it? Not to mention the unavailable Scott apples. The manager of the store rushed out with a wad of banknotes and said she wanted to buy 10 apples. Tao Ran opened the bag sheepishly and piled the remaining items on the table. She counted in front of everyone. I'm sorry, everyone, I only have a total of 12 apples left here. I'm afraid it won't be enough for you to share. There are not enough apples, but she still has so many chocolates. Are those coffee beans, tea, and milk? Everyone felt that their eyes were not enough to see. These are all useful for Christmas, which is coming soon. How great to make gifts for your family, cook a big meal, and give the kids something good to eat. So 10 minutes later, all the items on the table in front of Tao Ran were gone. The bag was empty, nothing was left. Only money is left. A bunch of money. She is true, she is so poor that all she has left is money. She wanted to laugh and stuff money into her bag, but she still had to be tight, she had to maintain her character. God knows how fierce the competition was just now. Even the nutritional supplements at the bottom of her bag were all bought. After those people scanned the anti-counterfeiting codes on the items and confirmed that they were all officially produced by Central Star, they felt as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Thanks to the store manager and salesperson for maintaining order, there was finally no chaos. Because everyone was bidding, these items were almost all sold at 20% off the market price. Very good. She didn't have any proof or cost, so it was a miracle that she could sell it for this price. The salesperson was helping her collect the money and put it into her bag one by one. The store manager asked about some good products from Central Star and asked if there were any extra good things, could he resell some to her in the future? Okay. The store manager also asked about her necklace, and Tao Ran opened her mouth again. My family asked someone from the technology company to customize this for me. It was made according to my body type. Do you see the slightest hint of green? Can you help me? Body conditioning. Is it expensive? I don't know either. Tao Ran was just talking nonsense, but she actually saw the light in the store manager's eyes. If you like it, if I have more next time, I'll give you one as a gift. Really, really? Yeah. But maybe the drill could be a little smaller. Then, thank you, Thank you. The store manager brought a business card. My mother-in-law's family owns a department store. If it is really effective and can really improve your physical condition, we can customize and sell it. Oh. Taoran seemed to have seen another way to make money. In fact, she is not lying. Spiritual energy nourishes people, that's for sure. It was Zhou Heiya. Because he had been with her recently, his skin had become rosy and smooth, with fewer wrinkles. He said he looked good because he was in a good mood, but Taoran knew that it was the spiritual energy brought about by his own cultivation that nourished him. She couldn't help but start to add up. When she came out this time, there were more than 10 kilograms of spiritual stones spread under her backpack, and about 20 kilograms of spiritual stones were sewn into her jacket and pants. How many necklaces could this total of 50 kilograms of spiritual stones be made into? It's 5 o'clock in a blink of an eye and the store is about to close. Taoran stood up and apologized anxiously, saying that she almost forgot to tell them that her optical computer was probably lost and reported as lost. Now the account is locked and she cannot log in, so she doesn't have that many star coins for the time being. I bought an optical brain. Although the optical computer store did not make this deal, it felt that it had gained a lot. The store manager offered to drive her home, but Taoran said she still had an appointment. After declining, she put on her sunglasses again and left with her 2.8 meter aura. Thank you for the monthly ticket, thank you Xiao King II, Reset Lai Huo Wivyo, Book Friend Tale number 02576 Baby's Reward, thank you. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 612. Zhou Heiya never expected that when Taoran came back, only money was left in his bulging bag. Looking at it, there are at least tens of thousands. You cheated so much, he was very happy. Fortunately, he didn't sell all the apples to the hawker yesterday, otherwise it would be too late to cry. Why is this a lie? They are all genuine and good things. Christmas is here, so I act as Santa Claus and spread blessings to people who like me. This is my love for the fans as a movie queen. Zhou Heiya snorted and was about to sit down cross-legged to count the money when he was dragged up by Taoran. Hurry up and buy tickets, we'll leave tonight. Taoran counted 10,000 star coins to Zhou Heiya and asked him to buy the cheapest ticket to the transit star. It saves time, reduces risks, and saves one night's accommodation fee. How great! Their daily necessities are basically only nutrient solution, so they still have to save money in order to prevent them from sitting on nothing. Taoran had already roughly counted. From the scene just now, he got a total of more than 50,000 coins. Zhou Heiya went to buy tickets, while Taoran went to the market at noon, redeemed his watch, returned the proprietress's shoes and bag, and spent 20 stars to give the proprietress only 1/3 of her eyeshadow palette. Bought it? With the money, she bought a few more decent clothes. In the interstellar age, there are indeed fewer people who pay attention to dressing up, and they can't even find cheap plain necklaces. She could only go to the hardware store and buy 50 coins, a 3-meter thin alloy chain, a roll of strong adhesive transparent glue, etc. Private merchant ships would not check identities, so the two had no other choice. The evening boat ticket is 4,800 yuan, which is 200 yuan cheaper. Before boarding the starship, Taoran reorganized Zhou Heiya's image. First, he forced him to shave his beard and wash his hair, and then used transparent glue to cut out his double eyelids and put them on. His triangular eyes looked cunning. Xiao Yan finally looks a lot more honest. She also trimmed his hair with a saber. Half of his long hair was parted in the middle and half of it was shortened. This man suddenly felt refreshed and energetic. It seems that they are completely different. The flight time is 5 hours. Zhou Heiya was just about to take a nap when Taoran assigned him a job. A package of alloy chains, Several pieces of spirit stones that had been cut and half of the spiritual energy was left were thrown in front of him. I earned the money, and you will do the work from now on. It is not easy to transfer from the transit star to the Gontai star that Joheiya is going to. During this period, he has to transfer to the starship in an interstellar orbit, which requires a total of 50,000 coins per person. Now there are only more than 30,000 coins left, which is not enough money. Fortunately, I have some capital. There are many people in the transit star, and even the station has a casino. Taoran left immediately. Gambling is all about mental strength and acting skills. How could it be so difficult to get her? She played 5 games, gave up one at first, and then won 4 games in a row, easily getting 30,000 coins. After changing the venue, I got another 50,000 coins. Enough money. But as soon as she left the scene, she encountered a thief. As soon as the thief put his hand into her bag, she grabbed him and broke his leg. Then, she was blocked again. 5 or 6 people came with laser knives and blocked her at the back entrance of the casino, trying to rob her. Joheiya wanted to take the laser gun, but she held him down. How can ordinary people be her opponents? Taoran had no use for his spiritual power and relied only on his martial arts skills to defeat a group of guys with laser knives. Not only did they beg for mercy, but they even offered 10,000 star coins to buy them passers-by. A young wealthy businessman who was also waiting to leave from the transit star by starship saw her skills and came over to ask. After learning that they were on their way, he offered to pay 30,000 star coins to hire her as a bodyguard and help her upgrade her cabin. Just like that, another day later, Taoran followed the wealthy businessman and boarded a first-class cabin worth 100,000 yuan, enjoying wine and food on the sofa, while Joheiya cried and sat in the hard ordinary cabin and finally started his journey. During the discussion, we learned that this wealthy businessman named Lime was a second-generation rich man. His family was rich, but his brothers and sisters were all from the same father, and everyone was vying for the old man's property. As soon as he negotiated a deal, he suffered multiple assassinations and only 3 of his 5 bodyguards were left. He had no choice but to disguise himself as a smuggler on a merchant ship, but he was still discovered. Before meeting her, his last bodyguard had just died. So bloody. Another fight for power? Taoran raised his eyebrows when he heard this. However, he hired Taoran as his bodyguard for nothing. In the transfer cabin of the starship, the wealthy businessman was actually assassinated. Taoran, who was mentally strong, predicted the crisis and saved his life. The wealthy businessman left his business card, indicating that she could contact him if necessary in the future. He said he had some connections in Central Star and could help her with anything. After delivering the wealthy businessman to the bodyguard team waiting outside the transfer cabin, Taoran finally boarded the starship bound for Gantai. A day later, we finally arrived. Joheiya was very nervous. Taoran accompanied him to find money. A deep mountain and old forest was excavated by Joheiya. Buried in the ground. Taoran asked him, but he ignored him. Buried for 20 years? Did he keep it well? Taoran quickly understood why he had to bring her here, and why he said on the way that he wanted to give her 60% control after getting the money. Because he couldn't find it? 20 years later, all he remembered was that the thing was under an old pine tree. But here is a pine forest. Taoran had no choice but to accompany the excavation. The 2 of them dug, and on the 5th day, it was Taoran who dug out a copper box wrapped in layers first. It turns out that what Joheiya is looking for is not money, but this. When I opened it, I saw a finger-shaped film inside. The film was well preserved, and the fingerprints on it were clear. Joheiya lay on the ground laughing. I'm developed. An hour later, the 2 of them arrived at Gantaixing Central Bank and used the fingerprint to open a vault here. A whole hoard of money and gold bars. They never imagined that I would hide their dirty money in a bank so openly. Or the central bank. Of course, even if they thought about it, they wouldn't dare to snatch it, right? Ha 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 ha. In the end, the money still falls to me. In hand. Taoran didn't bother to ask too many questions. She only knew that she had become rich too. Money makes things easier. The two temporarily stayed in Gantaxing and started looking for someone to apply for their identities. Bob. 150, 120. A father and daughter who depend on each other for life. From next door, 9. Bob's character is a wealthy businessman who started out as a hawker. Because of his business, he has been traveling around, and his daughter has frequently changed schools with him. Because he is uneducated, he hopes that his daughter can go further. At Taoran's request, Baofu's life, experience, and even school information were prepared, and even his graduation photo was uploaded. During the identity process, Taoran and Zhou Heiya made fine adjustments to their faces. Plastic surgery is too troublesome, just a few changes. Zhou Heiya had his eyelids raised, his eyebrows done, and his hairline changed. The corners of Taoran's eyes were raised, his chin and nose were pointed, and his mouth was straightened. Tao Baran's face was friendly, but his current face was much colder. Taoran had his eyebrows done again, slightly thickening them to look more heroic. Coupled with Taoran's makeup skills, the effect was comparable to plastic surgery. Even if she stood in front of Nais, he probably wouldn't be able to recognize her. All the procedures were completed, and the stitches were removed from the face, 10 days later. The two of them each matched up with their heads, and finally boarded the starship heading to the central star. The reason? It was for the future of his daughter, so old Bob immigrated.